Hi, everyone. Welcome. You are at Friday Connect. We're here every single week, Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm here with my co host, Jacob Sharman. Jacob's based in Houston. I'm Tharmila Rajasingam. I'm based in Toronto. We are real estate marketers, real estate agents. We're global team leaders. We're also business partners. We have a combined marketing agency that we co founded, and we also have a social media content platform that we co founded as well. And we work very closely together. And our mission is to bring agents around the world together, collaborate, help you grow, and build a community together online and on a global space. So thank you so much for joining us. And because so many of you, because we've been doing this for over a year and a half now, people have been sharing interest about how much they love this, and either due to time zone or if they have to drop off because it is in the middle of the day. We've done it so that we can capture as many people as we can from different countries, as we have so many people tuning in from all over the world. So what we like to do is we have this on our YouTube channel now. So Jacob's going to put a link in the chat box. He's having some internet issues, so you're not going to, if you don't hear him too much today, that's the reason why. I Before the training gets started, I just wanted to mention, make sure please connect with us on FridayConnect.net. Our website has all the information on there about future calls coming up, any of the live events that we do on a weekly basis. It has all the info on our YouTube channel and a ton of different trainings we've done on everything between video marketing, TikTok, social media, lead generation, name it, Google Ads, anything that you probably thought of in the real estate space. We've done it. We even brought on some amazing guests who are crushing it in that space. So I highly recommend you check out that channel and click subscribe. And if you have any questions, always leave it in there because we're always looking for people's feedback. And let us know when you're in our Facebook group about the type of topics you want to see so that we can find the right guest and bring them on here. So today I'm going to be sharing with you some info, some strategies around follow up. And if I have some time, I might share my screen and also show you my one of our CRM, one of the top number one rated CRM in North America, and how this CRM functions. Not to per se so that you need to use the same CRM, but just to show you the type of functionality you need to have for you to automate a lot of follow up. So what I'm going to do right now is share my screen. And if you have any questions, please keep it to the end and I'll be happy to answer them for you. So I'm going to share my screen right now and we'll get that going. I have another screen right here, so I'm looking here. Perfect. Right. So what you're looking at is my slideshow. I'm going to take a little bit of moment to go through this first and explain it to you, give you some high level strategy, and then we'll come off my slide. I'll go into my CRM and I quickly walk you through our CRM kvCORE and answer any questions you may have. So today our topic is on mastering the art of follow up, effective strategies, and particularly some of the stuff that I want to share with you today is around conversion, but on autopilot, right? So you can't convert somebody from a lead to a client if you're not able to follow up. So I'm going to give you a ton of different follow up strategies, some things you need to do in order to follow up and to master follow up, and how you can do it on autopilot. And this is what's going to get really interesting because we should all have access to this technology or this type of technology for free. And I'm going to show you how you can do this. So let's get started. So what you're going to learn today, I'm going to share some information about you in terms of what a lead follow up versus lead generation. I know that when you haven't, if you're a real estate agent and if you haven't studied marketing or digital marketing, sometimes it's people use different terminologies interchangeably. And I want to give you a clear definition of what they mean. Share some information with you around the types of follow up that there are, things you need to do before you follow up, and some nurturing strategies, things that the tactics to put into place. What are things you need to do in order to follow up? And the beautiful part about this is they're automated as well. So it's not just a lot of manual, so that you can still be on the road, showing property, closing deals, doing the paperwork, all that good stuff, managing your team if you have VAs, etc., and some best practices as well. So let's get started. I want to do a quick introduction of who I am so you have some context to who you're learning this from. I highly recommend that you always vet the people you learn content from. There's lots of people, training people online. It's really important that you look at the credibility of people who are teaching you this. I am, like I mentioned, I'm a real estate agent. I've also come from, prior to coming into the real estate space, I worked in marketing for over a decade. I primarily started working in for not-for-profit, and then I moved on to working for the government. And I'm based in Toronto, so I worked for the city of Toronto, and then I moved on to working for the city of Mississauga for a little bit. And I used to write marketing plans for high-profile, large events for the city. And I managed over 12 social media accounts on a daily basis. So that's where my passion came from, writing social media content. It's second nature to me. So I created a content platform, social media content platform for real estate agents called kvCORE with Jacob Sharman. Make sure you check that out. It gives you content. You don't have to rethink it. Everything's done for you. The strategy is done for you, and we give you content, daily strategy and content. Make sure you check that out. There is a free account as well. And if you and also the marketing and mindset is primarily, we just rebranded to Mift Marketing. We launched that more recently. It's our marketing company as well. We have that, and we work really closely with real estate agents to launch their brand. And I'm also first, funny enough, before I actually got my license, my husband and I, we've been in the space for now 4.5 years investing in real estate. We have a handful of properties here in Southern Ontario as well as in some parts in the United States. And that's where kind of the passion started for us with real estate. And we wanted to do this on and create passive income, create wealth for our family, intergenerational wealth. I wanted to get out of that rat race of the 9 to 5. So that's where all of this kind of came together. I'm also a digital marketing instructor now for a college, and I also teach people on kvCORE, the platform that CRM that I'm going to show you in a little bit if you're not familiar with it. And I'm also an ambassador for that platform. I meet with the Inside Real Estate, the founders, the parent company of that product on a monthly basis. So if you're using it, if you have any info around it, if you have struggles with it, connect with me. I'll happy to pass that on, or work with you closely to help you overcome any of those concerns. Connect with me. I'm on all social media accounts. If you look me up on my name, you can find me there. Connect with me. If you have any concerns, you can directly connect with us. So let's get started. I wanted to start off by saying the answers will be given to those who are bold enough to ask. Many times we make assumptions when it comes to our business. We think that people may not want to hear from us. People might not be ready. We make a lot of these assumptions, these analysis paralysis that keeps us from following up. And oftentimes we don't have a lead generation problem. We have a lead follow-up problem. This is one of the most important topic that you'll ever learn, is because if you follow up with any of the contact that you already know, you could close deals. So keep that in mind. You don't think so much about the fact that your pipeline isn't big enough. I have agents that have 200 people in their pipeline, they're closing deals. It's really about building those relationships, continuing to make sure you're staying top of mind. And that's why I'm here today, and I want to give you some strategies that you can put to work immediately. And I want to give you some stats before we get started to just open up your mind to what you might be struggling with, but this is an industry problem. 80% of all sales require minimum 5 follow-up to close after the initial contact. And watch this, only 44% of salespeople and 44% of salespeople give up after one follow-up attempt. Isn't that interesting? So if you look at that, look at the part in yellow. 8% of salespeople are scoring 80% of the deals. I'm not sure about you, but I have a lot of top producers in my area, and they're closing deals, and they're closing a lot of the deals. Why do you think that is? They perfected the art of follow up. They're doing this. Their business. They're taking all of the businesses from people that give up after that 40% of people that give up after the initial phone call. Because trust me, if you look back on all of the calls and the relationships that you've actually succeeded in closing, those deals and transactions required you to speak to them more than multiple times. What is the difference between a lead follow-up and lead generation? And I just wanted to give you this information up front and walk you through and give you some clarity before we jump into giving you some strategies of getting you ready to follow up. Is that a lead follow up involves you connecting with people who you've had prior contact with. And that contact doesn't have to be a phone call. It could have been an email. They could have seen you and put in their information on a landing page, might have maybe entered for one of your giveaways. They might be following you on Instagram and might have connected with you there. And lead generation involves you connecting with a potential customer that you've had either little or no interaction with. And that's the difference between lead follow up and lead generation. So, what are some types of follow up? Because people often think follow up only requires a phone call or a face to face meeting, and think of follow up as like a touch point almost. That's why you need to do more than once, right? It's like touching them, going back and forth and building that cornerstone to building that relationship. It can come in a form of face to face. It is the highest conversion, right? If you meet somebody face to face, there's a transfer of energy. You can feel what they're thinking from their facial expression, their body language. And if there's another person with them, you can look at how they're communicating to find out who the decision maker are. You get a lot of insights from face to face because it moves that journey along quicker. And that no like trust factor, right? It builds up really quickly. They're able to trust you because they got to see you. They can ask a question. You can connect with them personally, and you can have a lot of chit chat in between you showing them a property, etc. Right? So that face to face is one type of follow up. There's phone call, there's text messaging is a type of follow up. Social media messaging, if you're DMing or direct messaging people, is a type of follow up, or even just having conversation with them in the chat box. It's a follow up. I'll give you a really quick tidbit. For example, if you have a YouTube channel and if you have videos going on, why do you think a lot of real estate agents are closing deals on YouTube? Because they're having conversations on their YouTube channel in the comment section. If you go onto my YouTube channel, you can see some of my top performing videos have the best questions. They're like, oh, I'm thinking of moving to Scarborough. I heard this part has a lot of crime. Should I be moving there? I'm an international student coming. Should I move here or there? Those are the type of question that shows you that they find you of value, they trust you, and they want you to give them more info because you're valuable. And now, when I reply back, I do my best to reply back with a question, not a yes or no question, open ended question, so that we can build that conversation and try to take that again offline to online and more so in person or a phone call, etc., especially if they're not close by. And direct mail is also a type of follow up as well. So keep that in mind. And I encourage you to take, you know, every person is different, right? You might be a text messaging person. I might be a phone call person. I definitely not a voicemail person. I barely check my voicemails, but I love checking my emails and I love meeting people face to face, but really depends on when. So I highly recommend that you find out, how people interact with you and find out and use these different method, in your touch points. And that's the type of tactics that I'm looking to share with you so that you can implement almost all of this into your follow-up plan. Let's start off with some strategies. I'm going to give you some really quick strategies. This will make a lot of sense when I jump into my CRM and show you how to do some of these. First and foremost, in order for you to follow up, you need to have contacts. You need to add your contacts, whether they are people you already know, people that are in your sphere, people in your network, or maybe you want to generate leads. You want to maybe bring in strangers. One issues with our industry is that we think it's so much easier to convert a stranger than somebody we know because we think that, oh, they might not be interested in us, or I told them I'm a realtor and they're not looking to. Again, you still have to apply the same strategies that you would for someone you completely you've never been touched with, right? You haven't connected with, because you still need to build our relationship so that they can trust you as a realtor and that you know your thing in your space, right? It's really important that you still import with consent into your database and start some of these automatic follow-ups so that you can connect with them and build your relationship. So first and foremost, you want to get contacts into your database. But remember, we're not doing a business one and done, right? We're not a real estate agent for 1 month. We're going to be real estate agents for years, and we want to keep producing and we want to, grow our business and scale. If that's the plan, then you need to put some strategies in place to bring in leads automatically. And if you need help with that, I definitely can run a separate training just on lead generation and to do it automatically. So making sure you have squeeze pages, landing pages out, running ads, Facebook ads, property boost ads if you have income. If not, use various different other tools, free tools, in order to automatically bring in leads into your database. Or if you're in different parts of the states, you can purchase leads. Or if you have like the phone book telelisting, obviously there's a do not call list, but there's people that have access to landlines you're allowed to cold call. So there's that you can do, but it's a little bit more manual. So again, adding contacts, people you already know, or lead generating people into your database, and then putting some pillars in place to automatically bring in leads. Because remember, it's all about when you get busy, you're going to forget about cold calling. You're going to forget about the lead generation, and now you're back to square one again. The beauty of being an entrepreneur is thinking about the cycle of your business, generating leads to following up conversion, and making sure there's a fluidity. It doesn't matter how busy you get. And then you can add in an assistant, you can bring in a transaction coordinator, and you can keep it going as you get busy. And sometimes I'll tell you another thing is big flaws that we do is that we think, oh, when I have money, I'll hire a VA or an assistant. That's why Jacob and I, for anything that we do, if we get busy, like even for my husband and I, Josh, who I have a lot of my, a lot of my real estate work with, he's my domestic team partner. Him and I, we have a VA. And before we even started to make real income in the real estate space, we have someone editing our video. Because for me, investing, putting that marketing budget is so important, or I won't be able to grow quickly. So think about that as well. And if you need help with either ISA, inside sales agent, someone to follow up for you, or if you need help finding a VA or how to manage a VA workflow, telling them what to do, I have tons of videos on my YouTube channel. Make sure you check that out. And I'm happy to give you some strategies around that. So make sure you connect with myself or Jacob. And the other thing you want to do, this is another misconception, is great. You added all these leads into your database. The other issue you might have is, are they the right information? Do they give me the right info? Do they have the first name right? Is that the correct email address? Is that the correct phone number? Which is why I highly recommend, if any of you, if you are a real estate agent getting your license or have your license, if you do not have a CRM, make sure you go get one. It's an acronym for a client relationship management. This tool you have can help you validate each of these leads to ensure that your database is accurate. Because what a shame if you're sending out all these messages and all these voicemail drops and text messages and sending out mailers, and you're finding out that the information you have is incorrect. So make sure you have, first of all, if you're generating leads, you validate your information to make sure that they're accurate. The other thing you want to do is first find out who these people are. Are they a buyer? Are they a seller? Are they an investor? Are they a lease? Are they a potential tenant? And figure out who they are. Maybe also, are they a veteran, someone who potentially might need a VA loan. Think about who they are and how you can serve them, how they are different from the other group of people. Because a buyer you would treat a little bit differently than a seller, because you could send them different information. The reason why you want to understand your database and categorize your database, organize your database, is so that you can find out how you can better communicate with them. Exactly that. Because we often think, oh, everyone, you know, this information is applicable for everyone. And you'll be surprised that if you find out there's, you went to a meetup group that has a group of moms, then try to give information about certain areas that they're from that only moms can connect with, right? So it's really important that you're finding out, unique content and valuable content that your audience can resonate with. And that's why on our YouTube channel, for my husband and I, we realized, the more and more we talked about our investments and investment strategies, those were the people that we were connecting with and attracting to our channel. Before, we would do a little bit of property here, tour here, community tour here at this city. And then we started to really narrow down the people. We started to look at analytics and data and insights on our YouTube channel to find out, hey, who are the people that are here? And started to look at the information of people that are coming up into our CRM, and then started to build and reframe our content. And every time we do this, every 6 months to a year, we would revamping. And if you ever scroll down all the way to my YouTube channel, everything looks completely different. And so, depending on your CRM, you can tag your contacts according to who they are. I recommend you have some sort of a naming convention. Make a Google document or some sort of a form and label some of these out. Buyer, seller, investor. If they came from an event, I put investor, event, meetup groups, because my husband and I try to go to a couple of meetup groups a year, like investor events. So make sure you're grouping these people where they're coming from. And sometimes I even share some of my leads with my agents to follow up with, because like leases, it's so hard for me to take on because of a lot of the work that I do with real estate agents as well. So if you're that agent, if you're a team leader, then you can group and name, like tag a certain number of leads under one of your agents, so you can keep an eye on if they're following up, right? So really think about all of this on a holistic base, not just one kind of one element, if that makes sense, or one component of your business. And behavioral automation, this is another aspect. This one, not every CRM has this. This is a very smart functionality, and that's why I really love that kvCORE has this. Think of behavioral automation in this way. It's pretty much your CRM keeping track of the behaviors of the people in your database automatically. Overnight, like 24/7, is keeping an eye. Oh, such and such person has visited your website 5 times in the last, 5 days. They've come back after 14 days. They started to look at these type of properties. Here's what they're looking at. They actually favorited one of the properties. They're a hot lead. They're saving these properties. They're liking these properties. And it's gathering all these information for you automatically. And that's the power of a CRM, because we're not smart enough or don't have time enough to do that, right? Because we have so many other things to do. And that's why smart technology, and you want to take advantage of AI. And this has existed before this boom that happened through chat gpt. This behavioral automation have existed for years. And this is what CRMs have done, is that it can look at the behaviors of people in our database. So I highly recommend you're taking advantage of tools that are like this. And there's no setup needed. It's just there. It exists in your CRM. You just go on or off, and I'll show that to you in a second. And what this does is that it automatically communicates with people in your database for you automatically. Because let's say you're on the road, you don't know who came into your website for the third time, the 20th time, 14th time. If they favorite a property, it automatically sends them in real time while they're working, while they're in front of the computer looking at property, says, hey, I've noticed you checked this property out. Do you want me to show this to you? So immediately it communicates with them while they're in that frame of mind, keeping you top of mind. And it's automated as well. So you can edit what is sending to them in your own tone of voice that fits your brand. Because depending on where you are, and from cultural perspective, right, like Canadians, we were a little bit less aggressive than Americans when it comes to sale. So I had to change some of the drips, right? So change it to make it work for you. I highly recommend. One of the things that a lot of us in the marketing world, we love to transfer on, is that your online behavior on your social media, through your CRM, through these automated drips. Because at the end of the day, your leads and clients don't know that you're if these are machines sending, or if a human being sitting there typing, right? Or if they're automated, they don't know the difference. So you want to make sure that your online behavior matches your offline behavior when they see you in person. So if you don't sound like what you send, if you don't speak, and that's why I love sending videos, because immediately they're like, oh, I like this person, or this person's personality is fits for me, so it's better conversion. Just wanted to put that aside and give you that additional strategy. Smart campaigns. This is just another terminology for drips. So this is a drip campaign, is literally a set of series of touch points or communications or messages, and they can come in different form, like I mentioned earlier. So it can be emails, it can be text messages, a voicemail drop. So again, a series of messages that are time bound, that are series to an accordingly to a certain period of time, that is automated. and and what this drip can do, it could work for anybody, anything. So it can work for a new investor, someone who's looking for multiple properties, someone who've been in your database but who hasn't interacted, coming back. So it can be for anybody. But again, a series of drips that are built, that get sent to them at a certain point in time. So the on the first day, 7 days later, 34 days later, 300 days later, whatever. And sometimes I've closed transactions on somebody who's been in my database from a random Facebook ad I did 8 months ago. And you have to nurture somebody. People don't buy property overnight. Well, they do sometimes, but not all the time, right? And this is why you need to kind of build that relationship over time. So when they're ready, they think of you. And a great way to do that is through drips. So this is minimum that you should have going on. This is a great one where you want to take a picture of. It's one of those things that you're making notes. This is a great example of one that could really help you. Here are some actual marketing tactics, automation that you can do to follow up. Besides the phone call, I recommend one of my strategy that I do with my husband is that every month, at least once or twice a month, we call everyone in our database. But keep in mind, let's say I call someone named Anna today, but Anna could tell me if she did pick up, right? If she doesn't pick up, she's going to get another phone call from me 2 weeks from now. If not, she's going to get another phone call from me next month. But she's also getting all these other form of communications that are coming to her differently at different time points, right? Not the frequency is also important, because you don't want them to unsubscribe as well. At the same time, if they do talk to you and they tell you, hey, you know what? Can you call me back in 3 months? Then they don't get a phone call in 2 weeks. They don't get a phone call next month. They get a phone call the second month instead of the third month, right? If you wait 3 months, what if they make a decision by then? I always call a little bit earlier than what they mentioned. And I put a task in my CRM that will remind me when to do that and to my calendar. So it's very automated, very structural, and has a system in place. This way, you never miss a beat. And if you think of it this way, showing a property, making sure that you're there for the closing, making sure you're following up for the closing, that is as important as following up because you'll never get there if you don't follow up. So think of it like that, okay? So here are some of the tactics to quickly. Search alerts. This is pretty much a list of properties that people in your database are getting immediately, just list of properties. So you know exactly, they can look at properties immediately. Drip campaigns, which I explained it to you. Birthdays and anniversaries are great for referrals. So anybody you've met with or had some relationship with, know their anniversaries of their buy purchase date or closing date, or their birthdays, their partner's birthdays, children's birthdays. Put them automatically so your CRM remembers it, sends it out. You don't even have to think about it. If it's a birthday, you'll only think about it when they send you a thank you back and says, "Hey, I'm doing great. Oh, appreciate the birthday. By the way, my cousin is looking to buy," and then that's when you'll start to realize how the beauty of sending out these messages and really putting people when you send out birthdays and anniversaries, don't ask them, how is your property going, are you thinking of buying? It's just simply wish them happy birthday. You'll be surprised. That alone will make them think of you. And scheduling mass emails, that's just email marketing. Highly recommend, you should all be doing. Remember, guys, I have friends who are not even social media. I have friends who don't always check their voicemails. I have people, my dad doesn't even have a smartphone. He has a like Nokia flip phone. But guess what? He checks his email. Isn't that crazy? Everyone has emails. We all check emails multiple times a day, right? So one of those things is emails gets missed out a lot. Universally, it's being used. I highly recommend that you take advantage of that. Voicemail drop is when you send a voicemail without the initiating the ring. I know this, depending on some of the laws in different states or province, keep that in mind. But again, your CRM, you can implement that through your CRM. Mass text messages, really good one is, let's say if you have pre-construction properties, or if you have new builds, and if you, let's say a builder sent you like a platinum access, it's exclusive, it's available for only time, or only you or your brokerage has access to it. That's when you exercise that mass text. You can do a quick one liner saying, hey, I have access to this. If you want more info, reply back, that kind of stuff. It works wonders. The other thing, because there's that urgency to it, right? The other thing is like direct links directly to MLS, because I cannot stress you the importance of sending people to properties. You'd be surprised. That's all they're looking for, right? If they're ready to look at, or those are a really good key indicators to show you that they're ready to buy. So I recommend you sending them directly to looking at properties. And then the behavioral automations, which I showed you, which is a great tactics to automate as well. So are you ready to automate? And what are some and automate follow up, and what are some best practices for nurturing your leads? Make sure you have access to the right tools. Like I mentioned, make sure you have access to a smart CRM, and please do not pay for your CRM. It should be added with your brokerage fee. I don't know why, I had somebody ask me the other day, should I purchase this or this? And I'm for $10,000. I'm like, are you crazy? I pay $0 for one of the smartest CRMs in the world for real estate, and it's a real estate CRM. And trust me, I've worked with many CRMs before, like Salesforce, SAP, and the CRM is powerful. It does exactly what you need to. And if you have a hard time understanding how your CRM works, take a training. It comes through trainings. Be patient with it, and more importantly, just use it. You will learn it from just using it. And be in there, play with it, for a few times a day, automate, and make sure that you time block for follow up, non-negotiable. I don't care how busy you are. If you're making millions of dollars, still you need to follow up so you can continue to make millions and more, right? And make sure you have scripts and pre-written messages ready to go. So those things you can use again and again depending on when a new lead comes in, which is why I love drips and such. And think about leading with value, right? Thinking about, what is it that I'm good at? I know my city, I know real estate, the laws, and how can I help these people understand what they, how to move closer to their real estate goals, right? and give them that info. Think with as if you're in their feet, in their space, less of what you think they need. Remove you out of this space. Where you come in is with the skill set of understanding the knowledge of being in the industry through what you think they need. As a That's why it's important to understand, are they a buyer, are they an investor? Because they are a buyer who is a first time home buyer, or home buyer is different than just an investor, right? They're looking for different information. Respond quickly. And this is why I love CRMs. You're not always there, right? You want something to respond to them quickly. Make sure you're taking advantage of potential, again, VAs. I have VAs that I pay, $7.99 an hour. So take advantage of people around the world. They're looking for people like you to hire them. There's companies that are, and I love hiring VAs through a company, because if your VA isn't good, or if they drop the ball, if you need to share concerns, you can do that through the company. And if they leave, you can immediately replace them, so there isn't a hiccup in your business. Again, I recommend you check out the video on hiring VAs on my YouTube channel. Think about solving people's problem. We're also all about selling, selling, selling. Thinking about solving, leading with value, and be intentional about your approach to things. And that's when you really build a really impactful business. And then constantly continue to follow up and keep it going. And trust me, the moment you're like, I don't think this is working, I guarantee you are one step away from that gold mine, analogy. And personalize, if you can, as much as you can, the communication, which is why I love technology. Because you can use like the merge tags and say, hi, so and so, like, hi, Eddie, hi, Diana, hi, Jacob. You could do all those things. So I highly recommend you take advantage of those kind of things. I wanted to, I don't know if any of you are part of, if you go on YouTube, Facebook, it's actually on Friday night, FridayConnect.net in our resources as well. Our book recommend, we have a book club for real estate agents. I run this every month. Please continue to learn and read. And here's some information if you are into this whole follow up, building a business. These are great books. Never Split the Difference, great for negotiation, especially when you get those objections. Some great strategies. I read these multiple times a year. Highly recommended. I always read multiple books a year, a month. Multiple books a month I read, but you don't have to. These are one of my favorite books. If you don't need anything, listen to these books. It will change your life. Exactly what to say for real estate agents. This is global. You don't have to be in the US or in Canada to read this book. Just great universal strategies. Great for just thinking about your business, but particularly for real estate. The compound effect is just thinking about your life and business in general. About, you could take a big jump in your business, but you can also grow your business taking the same simple step little by little. Thinking about your habits over time. And usually we often quit because we make excuses, we make assumptions. And this is a great book for keeping that self discipline. I highly recommend that. So join our book club and follow me on social media, on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel specifically for real estate agents. This is where I talk about VAs and lead generation and all that good stuff and things you learn here and more. And this is where I can actually share my screen and teach you things. So make sure you subscribe to me and connect with me there. I also have my Instagram. You can connect with me and follow me there. And Jacob and I are on our Friday Connect on our website, which Jacob's going to put in the chat box, that you can connect with us there as well. And we're happy to answer any questions, and again, find the right training and bring them to you here. This is all free, and we're happy to do that. And I'm happy to take any questions if any of you have any. And actually, while before I do that, I'll quickly show you my CRM right here. If you have, this is the kvCORE. It's the parent company. It's inside real estate. Because this call is being recorded and it's going to be on YouTube, I don't want to go too much into showing you the list of contacts and stuff, but because the privacy of people in my database and their phone numbers, email, etc. But you can see, like, I have search shares. I share leads with some of my agents. My husband does a lot of cold calling, so they're here. Some events we go to, and there's a lot more which you're not seeing, but I group them into different saved searches. And if you want to know how to do that through kvCORE, you can go to my YouTube channel. I have tons of training on there. And then marketing, like, look at this: smart campaigns, search alerts. This is where you can automate some of the search alerts. Sending out mass emails to people already in your database, a couple of clicks, birthdays, anniversary. And here's that behavioral automation. Look at this. It literally tells you on this to say a lead, and it could tell you as well. Look, so and so visited your website, revisited your site in 14 days. They came back to visit your site in the last 5 weeks, and they're logged in, right? That's how you're able to get this information. So they know they're on your site, and then you can look and edit the information that is going to go to them. Look, it's personalized because it has some merge tags, it has your name on it, and it's going to add your signature at the end, which is great. I recommend you look at these and edit them according to what works for you, and you get to control who gets them. And again, like I mentioned, categorizing according to people. I actually have a really good YouTube video on this. Make sure you check that out on categorizing your database. Look at this. I only send them to select people in my database, because everyone else, people that I've closed properties with, people that I've prospected through events or cold calling, I have a different sequence for them. Or people I'm currently working with. I don't want them to get all of this stuff, even because they might be on my website every day, right? My people I'm currently working with. You don't want them to get annoyed with all this stuff, because they're going to be like, you just called me and then your website emailed me, because they don't know the difference that a machine is emailing versus automatic, right? So I highly recommend you thoughtfully think about your business and how you categorize certain things in your business. And here's all the ways you can generate leads. Again, this is just some. There's tons of other strategies as well. But this is some that are paid, free. You Google ads, Facebook ads. There's tons of different ways you can take advantage directly through the CRM or on your own as well. But again, it's really important that you're taking advantage of being in your CRM, going to your dashboard, looking at what properties are looking at. Again, I don't want to click on this for the privacy reasons, but if you click on that, you'll see, such and such person looked at this address. Here's our info. Call them if you need to, or they were here 5 minutes ago, 12 minutes ago. So your CRM is, in some sense, kind of like spying for you, in lack of a better word. But I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the chat box. I'll be happy to answer them. And let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any questions. I did put it in the chat for them to ask, but if you have questions, go ahead and put them in. If not, and I'll go ahead and throw up here. If you're looking to partner with us, I'll put that up here. And it'd also be, if you're watching this later, it's going to be in the description below. So book a call with us. We'd love to show you everything we're doing at this amazing brokerage, and especially with our group. And it's a no pressure call, so just book. We'll show you exactly what your business will look like here at EXP inside of our group. So be sure
Exactly.
to register for next week's trainings too. They're up, and we got some exciting stuff coming up to share with you guys.
And the beautiful part is zero fees when you join our group, zero splits additional, only what you pay, whatever is, so the brokerage fees, and they're very minimal compared to a lot of other brokerages. So
Very
again,
minimal.
no pressure call. We're happy to give you any information you like. Thank you so much for being here. Doesn't look like there's any other questions, but like I mentioned, you know where to find us. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.